Good morning. This is Liz Head, EC Head Consulting. I just stopped by to give you 11, not 10, but 11 marketing tips. So I'm just going to jump right on in. And the first thing I wanted to share with you, and I'll look down periodically at my notes to make sure I don't miss anything. But those business cards, those pretty business cards that you create, and when you come up with these fancy business names, I'm going to suggest that you put your name, make your name the biggest thing that's on that card, along with your phone number. All of the other stuff is good. All of the company name is good. But what you want to stand out is your name, because you're the person that they will be doing, they being your clients, will be doing business with. So make your name the biggest thing on your card and the first thing that's on your card. The other thing is, go ahead, sign up with those 100 companies. Now, this information is for the newbies, for the new signing agents, and everyone encourages you to sign up with 100 companies. And then also, I'm going to say the free stuff. Do free stuff first. Google My Business. Put your Google My Business out there for people to be able to find you. Signingagent.com is also free if you are a member of the National Notary Association. Facebook. Use Facebook. Have that Facebook page out there for you to advertise your business. Use your sphere of influence, which are the people that you already know. You want to start with them. Invite them to like your page or whatever y'all be doing with that Facebook stuff, but use it as your business page, rather create a business page and ask them for referrals. You got to change your mindset. Well, I had to change my mindset about Facebook, and I have Brenda Stone to thank for that, because I always said, I hate Facebook, I hate Facebook. And when we put garbage in our minds, then of course we get garbage out. So you change your mindset. If those of you who love Facebook, think about using it in a different way. Instagram, LinkedIn, those are all free things that you can do. Do some videos. Now, if you advertise, people are going to come. That means you have to be ready to handle the business when it comes. So if you start reaching out to 100 companies, I'm just going to go back to that, 100 signing services or title companies. Well, what you gonna do if 10 of those people call you the same day? How are you going to manage your business? So what I suggest you do is to pace yourself. Instead of doing 100 in a week, you do maybe 10, 15 in a week. Then you may get 2 or 3 calls from that 10. So you figure out how to manage that. Then the next week, you do another 10, 15 companies. And then you give it a little bit of time to see what fruit you're going to get from that. And then you move on. So in other words, you're thinking big, but you're starting small. Because when the business comes in, if you're unable to handle the business, if you're unable to answer your phone, then all of the marketing in the world is not going to help you. So be ready to manage the phone calls when they come in. And let's see, the last thing I have on here is use your village. Again, that's your sphere of influence. That's your Facebook friends. That's your email friends. Those are people that you're talking to on a daily basis. You know, those are general phone calls you might have. You're on the phone talking 24/7. Turn that into a way to make some money. Use your sphere of influence. Now, your sphere of influence may change depending on what your needs are. You know, that village of people that you have, you don't need your entire village. Let's say you have 100 people basically in your village. You don't need all 100 people to weigh in on every single thing that you have. You need to carve out who in your village can help you with certain things. Sometimes it's just like, you need emotional support. If you need some emotional support, then you know who is in your village who will give you that emotional support. Sometimes you just need a kick in the butt. Well, you decide who is in your village who's going to give you that kick in the butt when you need it, and not just allow you to whine about what's not working for you, but they listen to you. And then if you're asking for advice, you have to be willing to follow the advice that they are giving you. So, and let's say it's something that you need to know how to, then another part of your village would be the ones that you would reach out to for the how-tos. Now, let me tell you also, as part of my village, and I'm going to start sharing my screen right now, and I want to show you something right here. This little pretty and branding, this is my daughter, but she's also my social media person. We have to figure out what it is we're good at and what it is we need to have someone else do for us. So we want to be able to make good choices. Many of you are young and internet savvy and all of that good stuff. You can do this stuff yourself. You figure out how to use Facebook. You figure out how to use Instagram. You figure out how to use those things for marketing tools. And that will, until you get to a point where you can hire somebody to do it for you. Now, when I started doing loan signings, I did not do any of this stuff, to get that business. But we're in a different time now. We're in a totally different time. So you may have to do a little bit more on the loan signing part, but where I'm spending my time is on my training, because I needed help with the marketing stuff, because that's not something that's my strong suit. And of course, when we hire someone to help us, we have got to be willing to do as they ask us to do. So many times she'll tell me, you need to do so and so and so and so. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And then she tells me, she's very patient with me sometimes, and she explains the repercussions if I don't do it. For instance, we are taking a sabbatical from training for the month of December. But she told me in October, I need 10 to 15 videos from you to post while we're on sabbatical. Well, I didn't feel like doing them. So then, of course, December 1st hit. I haven't done any of the videos she asked me to do. And now it's like I'm doing them all pretty much at one time. And she reminded me just the other day that if I had done what she asked me to do back in October, then I could have my real sabbatical right now. So when we get somebody to help us do things, we've got to be willing to do what they ask us to do in order to further our business. So this little girl, I call her a little girl, but she's actually a full-grown woman. But since she's my child, I can still call her this little girl. But sometimes she gets kind of hard on me, and then I wonder, well, where'd she get it from? Well, she probably got it from a mama. She got it from a mama. But you've got to decide how you're going to market your business. And by all means, use the free things first. And you can't rush it. You've got to pace yourself. And it's not like you wake up today and you decide you're going to do this business, and then your $100,000 is going to start rolling in right away. You've got to do something to help people find you. And then you have to have your benchmarks, and you've got to check to make sure, it's like you set your goals, but then how do you know when you've reached your goal? Let me tell you about the advertising that Tamika does for me. She started doing this, and again, it's just for the training. She started doing it about February, March of last year. Well, it's like I said, with the advertising, because I'm paying her to do this, I've got to see how it is working. I want to know if it's working. Well, I said, with the advertising being done, I should be able to increase my training income, because I train for a fee. I give nuggets for free, but my training, my full training, is fee-based, because that's how I make my money. But anyway, the way I measured the success of it, I said, I need to see at least a 20% increase in the people who are registering for class. Well, I saw that 20% almost immediately. Well, now we're at year end, and looking at last year, 2019 over 2020, my attendance has doubled. Now, we also drill that down a little bit more though. What has caused such a significant increase? Number one, I was forced to go to Zoom because of the pandemic. So that has brought in more people who are not right here in my general area. Yes, even when I was doing the classroom, I've had a few people who would come from quite a long distance here in Texas, the Houston area, Killeen, Austin, up north, and also a few people from Tennessee, Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida are the ones who actually flew into town to do the classes. But Zoom has increased the volume because it's more accessible, because it's on Zoom. And but I had to let them know, I had to let y'all know that I was doing that, so that you would come. And when people called and they want to talk about my classes, and I ask, where did you hear about it? Because I always want to know what's working and what's not. And most of them will say that they found me on the internet. They just Googled and my training came up. Well, then that leads them to my YouTube, to other stuff. And one person said, well, I see you everywhere, Liz. Well, I'm sure it's not everywhere, but it was just in her realm of everywhere. So you've got to be able to advertise so that people can find you in order to work with you. So that's the first thing. Then you've got to make sure you are providing value to them. You're providing that service that's going to add value to their lives. So that's one other thing that you want to make sure that you're doing. But people have got to be able to find you. Then the other thing that I think is good, we look at what works. Well, obviously, so many people are online that's going to be your primary thing. But also don't forget about the print. I leave my flyers at Eagle Postal, for instance, UPS, what's the other one? Oh, at the title company. I have a title company that I leave my flyers. I have a sign on my car that has my name on it, real big, my phone number is real big, and then it says loan signing, notary signing agent trainer. Advertise everywhere you go. You want to be advertising. I've just ordered some masks because it seems like we're going to be in this pandemic for a minute. So I just ordered masks that say EC Head Consulting, trainer or whatever. So you got to, find ways that you can advertise. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out and do stuff like that because, especially if you're brand new, you want to be mindful of how you're spending your dollars, Be mindful of how you're spending your dollars and use that free stuff. Use that free stuff, but you want to be able to measure your success. You want to measure how you're getting, what it's taking for you to reach your goal. So you set your goal, and then you have to have some measurement, because if you, and you want to be able to have realistic goals. If you do not set realistic goals, then you're going to be disappointed and you're going to want to quit. And I tell you, I do understand where you are. I remember when I first started, and it was tough. There were days when I was so frustrated, I wanted to just get in the corner and suck my thumb. And then you just have to, I had to come out of it, and I used my village to help me come out of it and give me some direction, some guidance. Well, did you do this? Did you do that? Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that, but it didn't work. The other thing is, I mentioned Brenda Stone earlier. Brenda Stone is hardcore, hard-nosed, but those people you do not discount, because had it not been for Brenda Stone, I would not be sitting here doing a video right now. Brenda Stone encouraged me to do Facebook Live. And look at me now, I'm on Zoom. How about that? Phyllis Traylor is another one. She said she had to, she didn't have to, but she said, well, yeah, Liz, you've got a good program. And there were times when I wanted to just do my program for free. And Phyllis Traylor said, well, why would you do that? Just sometimes you need somebody to bring it on home to you. Bill Soroka is another one. So it's like, he said, well, Liz, I was complaining about something one day. He said, maybe it's the way you're packaging your message. Because you get on and you're fussing all the time. And people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear you fussing all the time. But I am a process manager by my experience. So I'm looking at processes. And then when people want to start in the middle, they don't want to start at the beginning, well, you're missing all of that valuable information. So I want to take you back to the beginning. I was working with a fellow the other day, and I asked him, I was doing a private class, and I asked him to read a document for me. He started in the middle of the page, and that's what we do. We skim. So I had to tell him 3 times, no, I want you to start at the beginning. So forgive me if sometimes I get a little picky, and I get a little, somebody called me a drill sergeant, but I don't see myself that way. But it's important that we have patience, and that we help people to get to where they need to be. So let me just wrap this up, because I've got a 12 o'clock appointment that I've got to get to. But I want to reiterate, your marketing, if you advertise, people will come. When you advertise, be prepared to handle the business. It's not going to do you any good if one day you sit down and you contact 100 companies, and the very next day, 10, 15 of those companies call you with work for you to do. You can't handle it because it's too much. So, make sure you're pacing yourself. Make sure you're pacing yourself. And you're ready when the business will come, and it will come. If you advertise, they will come. If you do a good job, they will keep coming. Remember, use the free stuff first. Use the Google My Business page, it's free. Use the Facebook page, it's free. Use the Instagram, it's free. And probably a lot of other stuff out there. It is a lot of other stuff out there that's free. Your 123 Notary, your Notary Cafe, things like that. Well, when I started, it was all free. But now they want a little fee. Well, save those till later. Try the stuff that's free. And of course, don't forget SnapDocs. If you're trying to get business, don't forget SnapDocs. It too is free. So anyway, those are my tips for today. And I hope that it has added value. to someone's life. And y'all take care now. Go out there and make that money.